Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains discussion video. So I will be giving my formal prediction for who I think is going to win the ongoing duel between Spectre and Playmaker towards the end of this video. In the beginning, I will be going over the cast list that we just got on Tuesday and the summary that we got about a week ago, but I wanted to wait until the cast list came out, and I was kind of, just because school started, I was a little behind with classes and stuff, so that's the reason I didn't cover it when it first came out. And then the closer it got to Tuesday, I was like, I might as well just wait for Tuesday for the cast list to come out, and then I was like, well, I might as well just wait for 36 to air to make like a formal prediction with all the information that we have, including the 37 preview, what was going on in 36, and so that is why this video is a little delayed, but I do hope you guys enjoy regardless. So if you do not want any spoilers, this is your chance to click off the video. 3, 2, 1, here they are. So it's really not too much, but episode 37, big thank you to DMC, as always, for translating. Episode 37, The Motherly Tree. Playmaker uses his ace monster, Xcode Talker, to counter Spectre's Sunvines. In order to finish Playmaker off, Spectre evolves his Sun Avalon into its ultimate form. As Spectre delivers the finishing blow against him, Playmaker, ... And the cast list is Yusaku / Playmaker, I, Kusanagi, Akira, Spectre, Frog / Pigeon. So there's no shocks on the cast list. I would have been, when I actually first read this on Tuesday before 36 aired, I was a little surprised at Akira being on here, because I knew Akira was in a cage away from the duel. But it's a good thing that I waited, because I probably would have speculated that he would have escaped, and I think he will escape, and I'll get into that a little later into the video, but I'm glad I did wait for 36 to air, because now it's no shock that he's in 37, because he literally is watching the duel from the cage right where Spectre and Playmaker are dueling, and if Playmaker attacks or inflicts damage to Spectre, the vines are going to grow and ultimately infect Akira. What that really means, we don't really know, but I'd imagine it would affect him and turn him, it would infect him, and it would turn him into Data. That's just my prediction. So if Playmaker does go after Spectre, Akira will basically be killed off and turned into Data, and we saw Playmaker actually concede a turn at the end, and then Spectre said, that's your greatest weakness, you're basically fake. You talk about revenge, you talk about how no one's going to stop you, but at the same time, you can't see others get hurt. You can't afford to see others get hurt, and that will be your greatest weakness. And so Spectre continuing to be a really, really impressive villain. So a villain that I myself have loved, and a villain that I know the mass majority of people have loved. And the Zaizen name is just cursed right now, unfortunately, with Blue Angel going down, and now Akira being used as leverage in this duel. So anyway, there's no surprises on the cast list, and the summary doesn't really give us much. The last sentence is the only thing that's Spectre's going to evolve Sun Avalon into its ultimate form, so that's awesome. And then as Spectre delivers the finishing blow, Playmaker, I imagine, activates the trap. He does have a face-down card from the last episode that he set that he has not used. Another thing to keep in mind is episode 38, we have the title. We got the title like 3 weeks ago. Hanoi's Remnants, but we do not have any information regarding that episode. Most likely, usually when I post these, we get information literally like 4 hours after I post these things, which would be cool, but right now we don't know anything about 38, so it's hard to see where this duel is going to go, and I feel like, just like the Blue Angel Spectre duel, this duel is kind of unpredictable. I guess I'll just get into my predictions now, because there's really not too much to go based on the summary, so I want to talk about what I think is going to happen in this duel, and what I think is going to happen, I guess, for the remainder of the arc. The problem here is, right now, there's really not that many characters, and we know the Doomsday device is going to go off in, I think it's like 3.5 hours. I think 36 was actually the first episode since the Doomsday device rose that they didn't start the episode or mention the timer in the episode. It had been going continuously down by 30 minutes every episode since Emma was defeated, but now this is the first episode where we don't get any mention of the timer, so most likely it did not go down by 30 minutes. So, but even with that, you imagine at most they could probably stretch it another 10 episodes before the device is supposed to go off, and the Playmaker Revolver duel has to happen with like an hour or 30 minutes left on the device. It's not going to happen when the device goes off unless there's some big plot twist most of us don't see coming. So with that being said, and that's the other key here, that's the other key, Playmaker kinda has to duel Revolver. Right, he has to duel Revolver. He has to be the one that defeats Revolver, or at least challenges Revolver. It would be shocking to see that go any other way. So if this was a situation where we knew a device, like they got Data, Kusanagi, and Playmaker, that there was a device that could do this, and they were going to try to destroy the device before the device was risen and like resurrected, and then there was 6 hours left, then I'd say, well, we still have maybe 20, 25 episodes before this device is going to actually go off. Maybe Playmaker will defeat, or maybe Spectre will defeat Playmaker. But because they're so limited on time and characters, I just don't see. My prediction is Playmaker will win this duel. I know it's a boring prediction. I know, Dylan, you don't like to live on the edge. I do if I feel reason to, but I just don't see Playmaker losing this duel. The other kind of X factor in this is the bridge that they are dueling on is being held up by the tree. That is being held up by Spectre's tree. So when Spectre loses, that bridge is going to collapse. And Akira's fine because Akira is not actually on that bridge. He's, in some random street where Spectre dueled Blue Angel. That's where he's actually being held. It's not on the bridge. The other thing with Akira, which is interesting to note, is Kusanagi cracked his knuckles right after he noticed that Akira was trapped and right after Spectre talked about Akira being trapped, and he went to hacking, clearly foreshadowing that in this episode, Kusanagi will probably free Akira. When Akira is freed, then Playmaker is going to be able to attack Spectre. The other thing there is that could lead to Akira dueling, and if Spectre gets defeated, Go and Akira versus Revolver. I'd love to see it. A few people mentioned that a few episodes ago, that could be a possibility. I would love to see a duel like that. And Akira and Go, remember, they have a bit of communication. Remember, Akira was the one who helped Go duel Playmaker. Akira was the one who, got Go the costume of the Knight of Hanoi avatar, and then dueled, and because of that lured Playmaker into Link VRains. So Go and Akira have already had some conversations and some, I guess you can say, communication with each other, and some planning. So it wouldn't be like completely awkward if him and Akira teamed up to duel Revolver. They've had communication in the past, and that would be an awesome duel, and it would make sense because if Akira is going to be freed, then he's got to duel someone, and if Spectre's defeated, that's the other thing. If Spectre beats Playmaker, then who is actually going to defeat Spectre, and how is Playmaker not going to turn into Data? I guess after the duel ends, if Playmaker loses and the bridge collapses, maybe something weird will happen there where Spectre will be unable to turn him into Data because he'll disappear, and Spectre will have to get off the bridge, even though Spectre can clearly teleport and disappear wherever he wants to in the VRains. Also, if Playmaker, something happens to him, that could force Kusanagi to go into Link VRains and get involved. And it would be cool to see other characters maybe step up and defend the VRains. I'm all for that. I just don't see that happening. This plot right now is so Playmaker-centric. It's so protagonist-centric, which there's nothing wrong with that. But then when you have duels like this, it sometimes feels like the drama and the tension is maybe a little lower because it's so predictable for what's going to happen. And I've loved the duel because I love Spectre. I love watching Spectre. I could literally watch him for the next 100 episodes. And I will kind of end on this. As long as Playmaker wins, as long as Spectre is not redeemed at the end of this duel, which I don't think he will be based on the preview, and he will be back in the future as a reoccurring villain, then I'm fine with that. I don't want a situation where he literally was introduced to us in episode 32, 33, and he immediately gets redeemed. I know he was introduced a while ago, but I see his actual introduction as being recently, because the first 31 episodes he really didn't do much, and we didn't have any inkling that this would be his personality. I thought he was going to be a very calm, calculated kind of guy, similar to Revolver, but he is unhinged. He messes with people's minds. He is a troll. He is the exact opposite of the vibe I got from him the first 31 episodes. So I see his true debut as episode 32 when he killed Kitamura and confronted Blue Angel. So I just think that Playmaker is going to win, and as long as he wins and Spectre is not redeemed, I'm okay with that. And then we'll probably have Go and Akira, because I think Kusanagi will free Akira. Go and Akira will duel Revolver. They will fall, and that's when Playmaker arrives at the tower, and that will be the finishing duel of the arc. Maybe because we still have Kogami, and I do believe after Playmaker duels Revolver, Revolver could have a change of heart, and Kogami then will step in, and there could be a final 2v1 duel. Revolver and Playmaker team up to face Kogami, very similar to what happened at the end of Zexal's tournament arc when it was Shark, Kaito, and Yuma versus Dr. Faker. And again, this is Yoshida. He's already written storylines similar to that, so I could just see that happening, and I think that would be really cool. But I do think Kogami is the final villain, the final antagonist of this arc. That's just what I believe. But who knows? I could be wrong. So my prediction is Playmaker. I could see a no result, and if Spectre wins, don't get me wrong, I would love that plot twist, and I would love to see how they write that if Spectre does win, which could happen. I see Playmaker winning, I see the bridge then collapsing, and I see Playmaker using his D-board to zoom off the bridge right before it collapses, and Spectre falls with the bridge, and his fate is kind of unknown, and I think that will be good, because then 20, 30 episodes from now, you could always bring him back in, and it could be like, oh, I thought you died in that, bridge collapse, and then he's back in, and he's a villain, and he's still the same creepy Spectre that the show desperately needs, and hopefully, again, he will not be redeemed. That's all I'm asking for this duel. As long as Spectre is not fully redeemed, I will be happy, but I am predicting Playmaker, and I cannot wait to talk to you guys down below about all your predictions and all your thoughts regarding episode 37 and where the show is going to go from here. You guys have already given a lot of great insight, as you always do, and I look forward to talking to you all down below. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you, as always, for the amazing support, and I hope you have an amazing day.